Now I'm recording. Oh, that was interesting. Okay. I was trying to, I can't find a definitive answer. It looks like LTE speeds are between 4 megs and 12 megs. But I can't find any definitive answer as to what you actually get. I guess it depends on the service.
Between 4 and 12?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm at 6 now, so it's. But the deal is, if it's anything up more than 750K up, I'm in, okay? Because I got
I can't find the up speeds.
Yeah.
All I know is every time I get anywhere that there's LTE speeds, it is incredibly slow, almost non-existent.
Well, when I switch over, when I go out in the yard and I get away from the Wi-Fi, it actually is better for me. I can tell the service is better. One thing is I'm switching over.
Yeah.
Is one of the things I notice. Let's see here.
I can't find a definitive answer about what it is. Looks like service area and how good your cell signal is and all that makes a difference.
Yeah, it probably varies.
I'm actually kind of surprised that LTE can go as fast as 12 because every time I ever connect to the LTE network, it seems like it's way below 4 megs.
But they had these look interesting, and they're talking about enhanced LTE too. The 5GE, which AT&T is touting, is just enhanced LTE. They're saying. But let me see here. Okay, well, let me go to the news then. How 5G, the pros and cons, how 5G works. Oh, let's see. I better check to see if Vicente's coming in.
Or if anybody else is coming. You muted your mic, Jim. Did you mean to do that? Your microphone's muted. Did you mean to do that? Jim, your microphone's muted. I can't hear you. I can't hear anything.
Are you done with your reading?
Oh, see, Jim's still in there. You.
I'm gonna go back to my room.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
So, what is 5G? 5G, or fifth generation, is the next step in mobile internet technology. It's what all of the next wave of phones and tablets are going to use for speeds that are even faster than the LTE networks that we already have. Now, our news editor reviewer, Chris Welch, has actually been testing all these networks for a while already. So he can actually tell you what it's like to use these speeds today.
Okay, so all the big US carriers are well underway with rolling out 5G. And by the end of this year, you should be able to get it wherever you live in the US. But what 5G means to these carriers is different. So for the last year, I've been testing out all the networks, Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Sprint is now part of that, just to see how fast it is and what a difference it makes in your day-to-day life. So let me try and explain. Now, Verizon's 5G is blazing fast. You can get download speeds of over 1 gigabyte per second. That's up to 10 times faster than most home Wi-Fi connections. You can download a whole season of a TV show in just minutes. But the problem is coverage. Verizon's 5G is very, very spotty. It's there on one street and gone the next. And indoor coverage is pretty much non-existent. That's because Verizon bases its whole 5G plan for now on what's called high-band millimeter wave technology. You've seen it in those commercials as ultra-wideband 5G. But the issue is the signal can't travel very far. So in any city where it wants to roll out 5G, Verizon's got to put up all these nodes all over the city. And that's not really practical to do nationwide. So later on this year, Verizon's also going to turn on its low-band 5G network. But there, the speeds aren't that much faster than what your LTE phone can do today. So for now, Verizon's 5G network isn't really worth upgrading to a new phone for unless you got a node like right outside your apartment or your house. T-Mobile has the most comprehensive 5G plan of all the US carriers. It's also using millimeter wave on the high end, plus Sprint's mid-band spectrum in the middle, and its own low-band 5G at the base. Now, Sprint's mid-band spectrum is much faster than LTE is today. I was in Texas testing their 5G network, and I got speeds of 300 megabytes per second. And unlike with Verizon, I could count on keeping that 5G signal wherever I went. Think of mid-band as the sweet spot for 5G. It's much faster than phones today. It's not quite as fast as millimeter wave, but it makes a big difference day to day. And last is AT&T, which has a similar strategy to Verizon in that you get the high-band millimeter wave and low-band sub-6 5G, but they're missing that middle part of the cake, that mid-band spectrum. So you'll have really fast speeds in small parts of some cities and somewhat faster speeds than your phone today everywhere else. Now, none of this is to be confused with AT&T's fake 5G, which is called 5GE. You've probably seen it in your phone status bar at times. That's just fast LTE. It's got nothing to do with real 5G that's rolling out right now. These are still the early days of 5G. Less than the market that offer these new faster speeds, and some of the early ones were very buggy and would overheat in the summer. Now, those concerns on the battery life have largely been overcome with Qualcomm's latest chips. We've seen those chips in the Galaxy S20, the LG V60, and the OnePlus 8, all really great phones. But we're still waiting for that first iPhone from Apple that has 5G, and that's rumored to come later on this fall.
Ew.
2020. So when we talk about 5G, we're not really talking about anything that's radically different than our current and past mobile technology. Let's put that in perspective. The earliest generation mobile technology, 1G networks, were launched back in the 80s. Unlike the other generations, 1G networks used analog signals and could really only do voice calls. You've probably seen phones that use 1G networks, like the Motorola Dynatac, that classic oversized cell phone from the 80s movies. 2G networks kicked things up a notch. More bandwidth meant that in addition to calls, users could start sending data, enabling text messages, SMS, and even pictures, MMS. Later versions of 2G phones could even access basic internet, like the most famous 2G device ever sold, the original iPhone. 3G networks offered even more bandwidth and faster speeds. And 4G LTE, which is what most of our current phones use, made truly fast wireless internet a possibility. And 5G, as Chris mentioned earlier, takes things a step beyond even that, with speeds that are faster in some cases than home Wi-Fi. But the key thing is that all these technologies aren't fundamentally different. They're all based on the same science, which means that it's time to talk about the electromagnetic spectrum. This is the EM spectrum. the diagram of the different types of electromagnetic radiation that exists. EM radiation is what we call a wave of photons traveling through space, and all EM radiation, be it AM radio waves, X-rays, infrared, or even visible light, fall somewhere on the electromagnetic spectrum. The difference between harmful X-ray radiation and benign AM radio is simply the amount of energy it has. Now, on the right end of the spectrum are low energy radio and microwaves, which are characterized by low frequency and long wavelengths. As we travel up the spectrum, wavelengths get smaller, frequencies get higher, and the amount of energy being transmitted gets higher too. AM radio, for example, broadcasts between 540 and 1600 kilohertz. It's low energy, but those low wavelengths can travel incredibly far, up to 100 miles. And depending on atmospheric conditions, they potentially span the globe by bouncing off the atmosphere. But again, quality suffers.
We hear sound originating at that very moment, hundreds or even thousands of miles away.
Go up the spectrum, though, to FM radio, which broadcasts at between 88 and 108 megahertz, and you've got more bandwidth, which allows for higher quality broadcasts, but your usable range decreases. It's the same basic idea with cellular data. New generations allow us to improve our transmission technology, which leads to increased bandwidth and higher frequencies, which in turn leads to faster speeds. But at the core, it's all the same basic technology. And the different types of 5G actually illustrate this really well. For example, take AT&T and T-Mobile's low-band networks, which Chris referred to. They're in the 600 megahertz and 850 megahertz bands, effectively the same area of spectrum as existing LTE. But the fact that they're new bands of spectrum that aren't already clogged up with existing customers, combined with new transmission technologies, means that these low-band 5G networks can offer faster speeds than LTE, even though they're basically using the same spectrum bands as LTE. And that low-band nature also means that they can transmit over a much wider range than other types of 5G. It's why T-Mobile, for example, can claim to have nationwide 5G coverage, while Verizon is stuck to just a few street corners. Next is mid-band 5G, which is basically just used by Sprint and now T-Mobile, which owns Sprint. Located at the 2.5 gigahertz range of the spectrum, it offers faster speeds than low-band 5G, but it has more limited range. For comparison, 2.5 gigahertz is about the same area of the electromagnetic spectrum as your home Wi-Fi. Now, mid-band is middle of the road in almost every respect. It's higher frequency and more bandwidth than low-band 5G, but it's not going to be quite the speeds and frequency that you'll get for millimeter wave, which is the ultra-fast 5G. Now, these are located around 30 gigahertz, much higher frequency than any of the other types of 5G. And they offer blazing fast speeds, the ones Chris mentioned earlier from Verizon and in limited areas, T-Mobile and AT&T. But those radio waves are also really small, between 1 and 10 millimeters, hence the name, which are actually really bad at passing through objects like walls or buildings, which means that the range is incredibly limited. So even though it offers the fastest 5G speeds, it's also the 5G that you'll probably end up using the least, because that rollout is just going to be really small. But those increases in bandwidth are only part of the story. A lot of the improvements in 5G come from new transmission technology. Things like carrier aggregation, which combine multiple LTE bands into one data stream for faster speeds. Or MIMO antennas, or multiple input, multiple output. These antenna arrays made up of lots of little antennas to improve connectivity. But is 5G or really any cellular radiation safe? Well, there have been a lot of inaccuracies going around about 5G. Some are completely absurd, like the idea that 5G somehow caused the coronavirus. But the simple answer is that 5G is basically the same as any other type of cellular radio technology, and we already have a pretty good idea that cellular radiation is not harmful.
Of course, people are concerned about possible effects on the formation of cancer if you use a mobile phone a lot, or if you're being exposed continuously to radiation from cell.
So that was the 5G thing. Couple of things that I caught from it. One of them is the new higher band looks like it doesn't want to go through walls and stuff like that. It's like 2.4 versus 5 megahertz for the home. The 5 megahertz doesn't like to go through walls well. The 2.4 is generally has better coverage. And the mentioning MIMO, I found out that new camera I got, the latest Rio Link, is doesn't have an antenna on it. it uses MIMO, and it appears to be pretty stable compared to the other cameras. So, yeah, the first part of that Vicente was a little more informative. You may want to look at it. It's in the news articles. It's how to explain 5G and the meeting announcement. You can go through it. It's interesting little thing. Very simple, straightforward. What's going on? Who has what? And it looks like they have a mid-range frequency, which Sprint and who was it? Sprint and somebody, whoever owned T-Mobile. Yeah, they have a mid-band, and that was much more coverage distance-wise, but medium throughput. But when you get to the very high outputs, you really have to have something close to you to get to you if you're inside. Generally doesn't go through walls. So.
Supervise. They will use a lot of more antennas than standard technology to make it reach all the places.
It looks like the actual phones have multiple antennas. They have arrays of antennas, and they're directional. If you think about it, if you get a very high frequency device, the antenna is extremely small. So you could have 10 or 50 or 60 antennas built onto a printed circuit board, and away you go. And that sounds like where they're going with 5G phones, because they have to be directional.
Interesting.
Let's see what else we got. Now I can't see my tabs. Out of here. Oh, the book of the month. This one, if any of you have seen the Fixer Upper TV series, they have a book out now. They're going to put out another series. I know, Leroy, you're probably not a Fixer Upper type.
No.
Vicente might be interested. These are a Christian couple, very nice, interesting shows. The book about it was very interesting, very upbeat.
By the way, did you see the Space Force show? It's funny. It's really funny.
It's on that's
Netflix. Netflix.
Is it Netflix? Yeah.
It's funny.
We don't have Netflix right now. We opted for Hulu. Got rid of Netflix.
Yeah, it's about the creation of the Space Force. But it's funny. A lot of nerds trying to go to the space, but they do well after all. But it's funny all the time. They're having problems, and it's interesting.
Ray's coming in, is joining now. MIT has got a new way to make graphene on a roll process. While they're developing it, they think they have the technology down. This will be a big deal. This will be a big deal in solar and
interesting.
Fields. Who we got there, Ray?
We have Aiden. Say hi, Aiden.
Ray.
Okay.
Hi.
This is Jim, And
Mini Ray.
and Leroy.
I remember there
Hi, I am Batman. Actually, I am Batman, but
He's Batman. Do you see his shirt?
it's it's a secret.
I'm Batman.
I'm not saying that I'm not Batman. I'm just saying you haven't seen me and Batman in the same room together.
Exactly. This is my point.
This must be the day for kids, the grandkids over here too.
Oh, that's cool.
I don't know where she went, what she's doing.
Okay.
Cool. What you up to? Anything interesting, Ray?
Well, I got into something and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit at my desk and I will make sure that I'm on time for the meeting. And then I got so drawn up in what I was working on, I was like, oh crap, I forgot the meeting. So
Ray, you miss my computer in a ruler working.
His computer and his ruler, the ruler computer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Jim, turn off the sharing so we can see the ruler better.
Oh, sorry.
There we are. Okay, so here he has buttons that he can turn the lights on. He can save it to memory, and it's all in like the shape of a ruler. You know how you're drawing lines on the paper?
Yeah.
And he's got little millimeters on this side and inches on that side, and a computer in the middle. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
All right. Well, we were over here looking at solid state hard drives for upgrading laptop computers. And I thought, well, I'm going to find the best price on eBay. So I started looking on eBay. Then I was like, wait a minute. Micro Center is right down the street. So what's the best price at Micro Center? And turns out Micro Center has better prices than eBay.
Have you been in Micro Center lately?
No.
Are they open?
I have no idea.
They're open. They're
You need a mask
go in the store.
with a mask?
I don't think so. I think you have to pre-order your stuff though. I think that it's all pickup.
Okay.
But check Best Buy too. I actually found hard drives cheaper at Best Buy than I did at Micro Center.
Wow. I would not have expected that. I'm glad I got on the meeting.
An 8 terabyte at Micro Center was $172. It was $146 at Best Buy.
I'm just looking at a 256 or a 512 gigabyte solid state drive for a laptop upgrade.
Just check Best Buy because
I'll check them both.
Sometimes their hard drive prices are shockingly cheap.
Yeah, it sounds worth it.
I got the 8 terabyte hard drive for 146 plus tax. It was 150 some odd dollars. So it was like $30 cheaper.
Okay. My neighbor is complaining about how his laptop computer is just stupid slow. So.
Oh, by the way, Ray, I found out you really don't know how to park in your neighborhood.
You need mask to go there.
Yeah, well.
I figured it out. I was like, we're out, garage sailing, and I'm sitting there looking at this truck, and I'm going, and then I went, wait, that's Ray's truck. I was like,
where was I at? Taco Bell?
No, you were probably in your own neighborhood. You were we were up over off of Todd Hunter and 63.
Was that the weekend of all the garage sales?
Yeah, and you were parking on the street.
We were all waving.
Hi.
Okay. No, that weekend, me and Aiden were out just looking for garage sales and seeing what we could find. I bought like 200 movies on DVD for 50 cents each.
Yeah, he bought like 500.
and about like 200 for 50 cents each. I was expecting to pay like $2 each, but 50 cents each is a pretty good deal. We stopped by this one guy's house, and he didn't have anything we wanted, but we noticed that he was trying to repair his daughter's electric car. That you sit in it and you drive it around, and the guy was lost. So I spent about 10 minutes and I repaired it for him. I happened to be driving around my truck that has all my laser parts in it. So I went to the truck, found the switch that he needed, and replaced it. And he was just like, "Oh my God, you have this in your truck."
Handyman.
You're just carrying stuff parts around.
Yeah, I think it's spare parts for everything in my truck. It was amazing. That's funny. So you missed it. Carol was there.
It's hard to do a drive-by. You didn't get anything off of that one. Man.
Leroy, were you out there looking at garage sales too?
Yeah,
Find anything?
little. Really didn't find much of anything. Patty found a few things, but I didn't see anything.
My daughter found like some really nice dresses for $5. I bought like 20 shirts and pajamas and stuff like that for the kid here. But for the most part, I didn't find anything that was like robot toys or anything amazing.
Yeah.
There was a guy who had a couple of cameras, but they were cheap cameras, and he only wanted $5 for them.
So Mom, he's at the beach.
Cheap.
Enjoying.
Did you change your screen?
Nope, he's just at the beach. He had to walk outside. All right, let's see what Jim's got. What's Jim got up there? He's got
he's got a cat.
And that's his wife and the cat.
It's a glass.
That's baby mama.
Thea.
Hey.
Thea. Come here.
And Gail.
Come and say hi to everybody. There's new people.
She's not very social unless you have food, of course.
Yeah, my cat is social when I'm sitting at the kitchen table.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there you go. Click
Oh,
on
there
that.
we go. Another rugrat.
There's Thea. That's Aiden. And
Ray.
I am Batman.
And that's Batman. And that's Jim. That's Vicente. Say Papple's Batman.
Hi. How are you?
Good.
See that cute little guy over there? Aiden. His name's Aiden.
Oh, I thought you were talking about me.
Yeah, well, Ray too.
Bye.
Ray plays in a little different sandbox, okay?
Anything else amazing today? I missed some other visitors. Do we have any schedule for like when we might be going back to the library?
Haven't heard anything.
We're careful.
Dad's not even working at the library right now, so
We are expecting a second peak
yeah. He doesn't know when they're
sometime soon.
I hope not.
Well, the virus is still there, you know. We did nothing about it yet.
We don't really have any medicines to fight it yet. No virus, no medicines, nothing. Okay. We're having fun now?
It should be interesting for the next 6 months, a year, to see how we evolve out of this or into it.
I was checking that some states are having a new increase in cases.
Okay, go get Mom. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Arizona, I think Texas also, Georgia.
okay, you asked for it. On the meeting announcement at the top, Oh, that's news.
Oh, I saw the Rapid Lays USA thing posting.
Let's see, I can expand that. The summary here is pretty simple. This is basically the total in percentage of change per state, and this number varies. This is a 60-day moving average for the percent change. It's kind of an obscure way to get there, but it does have meaning. And here's a 60-day moving average last week, or yesterday, day before yesterday. These are actually 2-day number here. This is the 60-day moving average for number of deaths. This is actually, yeah. So it's up today, and that's
why 20 days? Because the cycle of the sickness is like 14 days.
Yeah, the 20 days, you want to go past the cycle some. And the reason I selected it is it's a common financial tool to check where the market's going.
Okay,
you want to see the 20-day moving average.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I selected it, whether it's particularly meaningful or not. But here is, look at these. These are the total deaths. That's for 2 days. This time, this is a total death for 1 day. The 20-day moving average is definitely on the downward short trend, although you wouldn't know it here. Here's where you see most of the. This is where most of the damage was done.
A lot of sick people.
New Jersey. See this 171.
It's confusing.
That was 700, 800, 1,000 a day. Okay. Here's Massachusetts, same deal. These are by total number of deaths. Okay. Well, there's total number of deaths. So these have dropped substantially. This is the percent increase or decrease of the top. But now what you're seeing is some of the states are alarming. This one's not too bad. Minnesota, here's one, 2.66%. That's Arizona, Minnesota. Minnesota, you'd kind of expect that with some of the rioting stuff, but that's really hadn't been long enough really to affect it that much, huh?
On Sunday night, I drove 875 miles to get to Louisiana in the morning. I spent like 14 hours driving, and then I spent 10 hours with a customer, and then I drove back 14 hours directly. I do. Yeah. Silver truck or blue truck? Okay.
But for New York,
no.
The total deaths are 30,000, and we had 107 in 1 day. Okay, so that's a pretty big decrease. These day-to-day changes are insignificant, really. But you get down here to Minnesota, they've had 1,200 deaths total. That's all. So if they go up 2%, it's not that big a deal. 52 deaths sounds like a lot, but you know how many people normally die in Minnesota? You know, so I did notice that Florida and Texas looked like they might be trending up, but again, the total number is not huge in those states. It's not. They're not.
What's going on in Louisiana? There you are.
Yeah, they're
low.
Yeah, 3,000 deaths total. 30. They're on an uptick. but you can't tell from the daily numbers really. If you look at the numbers, you want to shoot yourself, okay? The weekend, the deaths drop off, okay? And Monday, it picks up. Tuesday, it peaks. Wednesday, it might be up or down, but Tuesday, it's going to peak. And Wednesday, it's going to peak. What's happening, I'm guessing, is they're not counting the deaths on the weekend. They don't have people there to qualify it and to verify it and that sort of stuff. So the numbers get skewed. And you see, that's when I went to the 20-day average thing. I said, I can't, these numbers don't make sense. So that's why I did the number down here. What you really can pay attention to is this number gives you some idea of the percentages going up or going down by state. These are all the ups and downs added up for the states. And this number is going down consistently. So the percentages are going down per state. And also this number, the 20-day average for total deaths. This looks like it went up this time, but it has been generally going down. You can look at the numbers. There's 854 was a 20-day moving average. 864 is a 20-day moving average. And now I got a 894. Now, realize these do shift because of how the numbers come in. So long-term, meaningful, short-term, not so much. This number is definitely a trend down. Overall, the state percentages are going down in general. So we're looking good, and there are some peaks and valleys, but that's, Leroy says stop sharing. Okay. I heard you say that, Leroy. Silently.
Silent. No, I was just looking. There are 14,300 and some odd people listening to San Luis Obispo County Public Safety, and I was trying to figure out what was going on. It looks like an officer has been shot near somewhere in the Ramada Drive, and that they've got riots going on again or something.
Is this California? San Luis Obispo? Race, you should know that.
San Luis Obispo? California? Yeah, I think it's California.
Well, we've got sections of Seattle are under siege right now. So, including the police precinct. We got a lot of stuff going on. You better watch your step, Ray.
Ray's not going to want to travel for a while.
I got Nick going to Florida next week. I'm kind of hopscotching back and forth here and there, but yeah, it's work.
Multiple agencies respond to shots fired near Ramada and Highway 46. Looks like full SWAT. Yeah, sounds fun. I don't want to go to California.
It's definitely getting interested for people who like a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff going on.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of crazy people. Wow. Yeah, who would have thought that they would have a siege of like a 6-block area of Seattle? I mean, the police have vacated their precinct, and that's interesting. Well, one thing I was talking about, Ray, earlier was the 5G. Eventually, we can expect to have all our internet and everything come through 5G, I think. That's the way it's going.
Well, does that mean I'm kind of on top of the ball because I've got my antenna already up?
Yeah, you're ready. The 5G, if you look at the news this week, there's a article explaining what's going on 5G this year, what the basic concepts are. Looks like they have a high band, a mid band, and a low band. And low band is, I think, what is more conventional like. And the mid band is a compromise where you get better coverage, but your bandwidth is reduced. So that looked interesting, and it tells what each vendor does. It looks like AT&T doesn't do the mid band; they do the low band and the high band. So you have super high throughput or LTE-like throughput.
When you talk about low band and high band, mid band, what frequencies are you looking at?
Low band is at the frequencies they're using now. And what would be the high band would be 30 gigahertz, Leroy?
That's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah. And the mid band was, I don't know.
I thought you were talking about like low band would be 4.7 gigahertz and high band would be like 8.2 gigahertz. Mid band is like 5.8 to 7.2.
Yeah, they were talking 30 gigahertz for 5G. That's pretty much what they've been talking about the whole time.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. 5G, 5 gigahertz compared to, or is that a 5G standard, not 5 gigahertz standard?
5G is
fifth generation telephone.
Okay. Now they're also talking about a 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi frequency too, Wi-Fi band. So you'd have 2.4, 5, and 6 gigahertz. And so they've got some more frequencies they're going to release to Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I'm already working in the, it's like 4.3 up to 8.2 gigahertz. I'm already in there.
You're wondering about here, Ray. Well, you're going to put a leash on you. 4.3, their 5 gigahertz is the standard band.
Well,
right?
it's a band. It's like in the center of it is kind of like the 5 gigahertz thing.
Okay.
But there's a lot of equipment that's operating in the low area of like 4.3, a lot of equipment. And then towards the middle, it's this certain protocol. It has to do with some radar equipment. And then you get out of that section, and then the upper section is really what's available, and the lower section's available. But when we look at like a waterfall time frequency spectrum analyzing, we get to see that the upper sections actually do have a lot of available bandwidth. And if you're using like a 40 megahertz bandwidth, you get a lot more data throughput. So this is all what I'm learning. Me and Steve Jones, we've been playing with the that Wi-Fi communication between my two buildings, and some of that new equipment, the Ubiquity stuff. They're still developing firmware to make that stuff work better. It's really cool.
What I'm finding out, I'm learning a little bit about Wi-Fi, the 2.4 and the 5. Well, the 5 has a different channel bandwidth, okay, and then you can use the 5 megahertz bandwidth on 2.4, okay, and you can use the 40 kilohertz bandwidth, whatever it is. And I was using some of the Wi-Fi analyzer tools, and I found out my router and my extender use a totally separate. They have channels. These are channels.
Different channels?
Broken up into channels.
Yeah, down at the 2.4, I think there's like 11 channels or something. Compared to up at the 5 gigahertz stuff, you don't even worry about channels. You just like, here, I want to use this frequency and everything within 40 megahertz or 40 kilohertz, something like that. That's, you can break it down to 10, 20, 30, and 40. If you're using 20, it's a tighter area. they can increase the data rate, but you still don't get the same throughput. So I'd love to show you guys that stuff sometime.
Okay.
What you see in the Ubiquity analysis pages, you know, I've been used to seeing all this different stuff of what you see in your router and your different settings. But when I open up my pages for looking at the Ubiquity system for the Wi-Fi antennas, I get to see the data throughput, the spectrum analyzer, these different constellation charts, you know, it's the antenna performance charts for the different performances on different channels. Hey, somebody's in my building. Just a second. Damn it, girl. I'm in a video meeting. And my daughter just showed up unexpectedly.
We got 2 minutes. So
all right. Well, guys,
out.
if you want, I can try to put together something to look at the Ubiquity frequency analyzing and the waterfall stuff.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vicente does that, drop stuff on us, and he has a nice screen and he puts it up there. Not as bad as our other member. What's his name? The black guy. He really goes crazy with graphics. But yeah, that'd be good.
Okay. Other than that, I plan to go purchase my new radio tomorrow, and that would be nice. And then I'd like to get another radio, but I don't even have an antenna for my second radio. So
But what kind of radio are we talking about? Hey,
ham radio, amateur radio.
HF, VHF, UHF.
VHF.
It'll be it'll be UHF and VHF.
Okay.
And then the second radio after that is just the HF.
Oh, okay, cool.
But they come together as a really nice set.
All right.
The ICOM 7300 and the 9700.
It's all for me.
She got me back into the amateur radio thing. She got me. I got bit.
So you're a CB or 2?
Say no.
No.
Slap that bitch. She's a ham radio
All
operator.
hams know that.
She's got her license and everything.
All right.
I'm proud of her.
Good deal. All right. Well, we're going to get cut off. So we'll see you guys next week. Anything else?
Nice to see you all. No?
See you guys next week.
I'll get a Batman shirt next week.
Bye.
Get a Batman
I'm
shirt.
Batman.
Batman.
Batman forever. Later, guys.
See ya.